Hello, welcome to Locology, the masterclass. My name is Simone Hylton, and I'm of Natural Trendsetters Hair Salon, the first and the best natural hair salon in South Florida.
I'm a master pioneer, cosmetologist, natural hair expert for the last 33 years, and I am proud to be a part of African Intelligence, where we're going to teach you today the systems of
Here at
locking hair.
Locology, we are going to talk about how to start, curate, and maintain locks, depending on your texture, your desired outcome, size. The loctician's job to find out the best technique to help their clients through their journey. A lot of people wear locks for 2 to 20 years. You have the opportunity to take them through this journey and be a part of it. I honor that because it's an amazing part of being there for your client as they grow through their journey. Locks are the answer. Locks are not just beautiful, they're cultural, they're spiritual, they're energetic, and they are freedom. I think locks are the answer to the question that so many people have been asking about what can I do with my hair? How can my hair grow and be manageable, but yet still beautiful? Locks is that answer. Whether you are embarking on a lock journey and want to really understand where you are in your lock journey or how you can help your locks along, or if you're a stylist helping people to navigate this amazing journey, this class is for you. It's very important that we understand what we're taking on as locticians, because hair, it's like a place of expression. And the beautiful thing for us as stylists, we get to use our creativity to empower these people to speak what it is that they want to speak through their hair. We're going to talk a little about all the different techniques, how to use them. So let's start at freeform. Hair will lock naturally when you just leave it to its own devices. But depending on the texture, the length, and how much hair you have, even in the freeform experience, there is some maintenance. It doesn't have to be often. You have to go in and separate it and allow them, you kind of follow the road that the hair is taking on its own, but the loctician is there to help you cleanse it, treat it, and guide it on the road of what you want it to look like. These locks look different. All locks look different at every length. So as the hair grows, there's a different level of maintenance, especially with freeform. I have seen people who have really, really thick hair, and in the beginning, when they're freeform, it looks really cool, it's standing up. But then as the hair grows thicker and longer, it starts to take its own shape. And if it's not maintained properly, the person ends up with more hair on one side of their head, and then it's weighing on their neck, and they can, end up with health problems in that instance, and or they can't get in to clean it, and there's one big one here and a lot of other little small ones. Also, if you don't go in and maintain the roots at some degree, they can pop. There might be a little skinny one that forms on its own, and then it pops. But a lot of people about that freeform life, they don't really care about that. It's not a hairstyle for them. It's a feeling, it's a look, it's expression. Here's an example of me separating freeform locks. Just following the basic pattern of the locks, clearing the roots so they're not all sticking together, and giving them a road to follow. I do not use scissors to bust my locks down. I feel through the locks to see where it will give, and I pull them apart. Even from the shampoo bowl, this process starts. And then you can perfect it when you get to the chair. So then we get on to conventional locks. Conventional locks are locks that are curated in the beginning and guided through the journey by a stylist or by the wearer of the lock. A lot of conventional locks are started with coils or 2-strand twists, or even braids, because once you stop combing your hair, the locking process begins. The beautiful thing about coils is the lock will start in the middle of the lock so that it could start to form and then stretch out into the coil. The coil is most like the cylinder of the lock, so it allows it to transition into a lock faster. Double twists, people love that for different textures because their hair won't coil as tight, and a double twist will help it to hold, and eventually the double twist will turn into a lock. But in that instance, the lock starts happening above the double twist. So the hair would have to grow out some to start locking. And that is maintained with the palm roll technique, as well as the coils are maintained with a palm roll technique. Now, a lot of times when we start with braids, people have started their locks just plaiting their hair up and allowing it to grow. In that instance, you will always have a braid at the end of your lock. The double twist will kind of mat and come together a little better than the braid on some textures, right? If your hair is really kinky and tight and you plait it, your locks are gonna come in kinky and tight too. So it's not really a big difference. But if you really look at that lock, you can see or pry open the braid. And this is what I like to explain to people. That's okay. If you don't mind there being a braid on the end of your lock, if you don't mind being able to go in and comb it out, that's cool. I've even had some clients that we go in and comb the ends out, and it gives it a great texture on the end, kind of like the Lisa Bonet locks or the boho locks. So when you know why you're starting or using the techniques when you're starting the locks, it gives you more flexibility, and you can give the client an expectation of what to expect going through the journey. My girl Ingrid here has conventional locks, where we just basically palm roll and retwist the roots. This is my favorite lock technique because it's the most natural way to lock your hair. We allow the locking process to lock the hair. So a lot of times when you start with the single coils and allow it to lock gradually, it takes a long time to lock. That's why people opt in for instant lock techniques, because they don't have the patience to go through waiting for it to lock slower. But I love to say, you could cook chicken in the microwave, but why would you? It's not going to taste as good. So you take your time, you get it slow, but the results are beautiful and they last long. Ingrid has been growing her locks for 7 years. 7 years, and we've cut it about 2-3 times. Okay, so conventional locks are amazing, and we're just gonna give her a nice quick ponytail style today, and let's check it out. So when you're putting your hair into a ponytail on the top of your head, you want to make sure all the locks are laying smoothly. Okay, take it up section by section and hold it. Make sure everything is laying down nice and flat. We want this to be like close to the top of her head. So we're going to bring it up. All the locks up. Section by section. The scrunchie is key. You don't want to make it too tight, but you don't want to make it too loose either. So put the hair through the scrunchie, twist, pull it back, and the hair through. Twist again. Does that feel too tight, Ingrid?
No.
Good. I always want to ask the client how it feels because they have to walk around with it. Then I like to put all the locks to one side and just tug. Make sure there's no gaps in between each lock. We're not pulling it hard. If you just pull it a little, if there's room for it to pull up, you feel me pulling them up, right, Ingrid?
Mm-hmm.
Just lightly pull. You don't need to pull hard. A lot of times the ones in the middle have a little giving room that you could pull up. If you pull it too hard, it could hurt the client, right? You just want to elongate the locks through the ponytail if there was any gaps. And if you do each one, everyone will be where they need to be. I like to take a little extra time. Is that too tight?
Yeah.
Pull it through. Just a little tug. It's my secret to a perfect ponytail.
Conventional locks are so great for styling. They give you a lot of versatility. You can make them short, you can make them long, you can make them textured, you can curl them, you can braid them, you can rope twist them. Today I'm going to do a little rope twist with knots on the bottom to give it a funky look. Stay tuned.
4 locks at a time. I'm going to make it like an asymmetrical bob. By wrapping the ends around
The bottom of the lock to give it like a bob effect. And I'll go around. It'll be asymmetrical and super cute. And this is just a set. When she takes it out, it'll be so textured and nice.
Next lock technique we have is interlock. And interlock, there's a couple of locks that fall under interlocks as well. Interlocks is when the hair is locked and woven by interlocking the hair through the root to create a lock. When someone goes to get interlocks, they leave the salon with locks, where with conventional locks, the locking process has to happen. When we go in and lock your hair by hand, the hair is locked. It's not going to wash out. It's going to stay in, and it doesn't puff out as much at the root. But you will always have new growth in every scenario, freeform, conventional, or interlock. We have to maintain the new growth. That is a loctician's job in driving or giving it a road to follow on the journey, right? So interlocks can be just interlock, where the hair is interlocked and woven through the root. And that can be done on a big size that are just called interlock, where it's the size of conventional locks. It could be
Micro locks are a technique that's done with twist or coil at the ends, where they go in and interlock at the roots. And also sister locks. Sister locks are an interwoven technique, but it's interlock from the ends to the root.
basically the basis of those 3 desired
Outcomes.
are interlock, the technique of interlocking hair and locking the hair by hand so that it can go into the locks. The pros and cons with that is sometimes, depending on the thickness and the length of your hair, if your roots are weak and the stylist is doing it too tight, it can cause stress to the root.
Listen, tight is never right in any instance. Traction in hairstyling is a big problem in our community, and we should be making sure that whatever technique we're using, we are not using too much traction. This is an example of me retightening this young lady's micro locks, and you can see that I am interlocking it at the root, and just like I was on the interlock, but the size of these locks are different.
Would be crochet or instalock. Crochet is a technique to retighten or start hair. It's also where the hair is matted with the tool. Okay, so the beautiful thing about that is when you leave the salon, it's already locked. One of the cons, in my opinion, is that the form of the locks is left to the loctician and their creativity. When in the conventional lock scenario, your texture dictates the way the lock is formed. So straight hair, the crochet is very good on straight textures hair, especially when there's length, because you can go in and back comb it and curate the lock a little and crochet it or insta lock it with the tool, right? That is really good. And in my opinion, it's the best for straight
Don't
hair.
get me wrong. Crochet and Instalock is good on all textures. All techniques are good on all textures. But the beautiful thing about doing it on straight hair is straight hair takes longer to lock, so it makes it easier. Here's an example of me utilizing the crochet technique on these freeform locks, helping her just to pull her roots together a little bit. She didn't want it too tight. She just wanted her hair to have a little direction. So I'm using the crochet needle to just help shape the locks and make it look a little cleaner. It will puff back up. It will um, look more like freeform again as it grows out. But this puts her in more control than the hair just running wild on its own. You know, I say locks are like children. You have to raise them. You have to give them guidance. If you let them just grow wild, then they're not going to be as uh, refined as they could be. So this is a beautiful way that you can use every technique that you're hearing about today in any scenario to empower you. Whether you're wearing the locks and you need a little more direction, or if you're the stylist, just helping someone to navigate their journey, because everyone's journey is unique. So this is an example of me retighten kinky hair at the root with the crochet technique. We go in, we get all the loose hairs. You see how we crochet it only at the root and get it all in uniform. This technique will help you when hair is just growing wild, even straight hair. When a lot of the straight hairs come out, you can bring it back in and gain control. You use the crochet needle going in and out as you intertwine and tangle, so to speak, the locks by hand. And this is really, really good and help keeps the locks from not being so thin. If you see your client's hair is thinning at the root and they got a lot of new growth coming in, it might be good to use the crochet needle to go in and retighten that area.
But we always have to retwist the root because the root can never be locked. The root is always growing, right? So in any technique, you are bringing the lock closer to the root. That is the goal, but you will always have new growth because hair is constantly growing. So that, see how all that hair belongs somewhere now? She's not going to have this loose hair happening. So we're going to go to her root. And we got to be mindful not to pull from the scalp because then that's painful. Am I hurting you, Tebo?
Not at all.
Right. So you see? The lock is all together. We got some loose hairs here I'm going to go back and get. Okay. Then we're going to go in. Hot gel from the My Royal Coils line. A twist. Anchor.
You can also use this technique when you're creating wicks. You use the crochet needle to create wicks. You use the crochet needle to retighten locks, any texture. And it's just a tool in your arsenal to help you be great as a loctician and or on your lock journey. We also use the tool to combine locks. That's what they do with the wicks. So it's amazing to know every single thing that we can do to help us move in this industry. This is an example of Instalocks that were started with the crochet needle. This is another way to start a lock journey. So all techniques are amazing. All techniques are useful, but texture plays a big part in the one you just decide to use. So let's get into it. Let's talk about texture.
It's either straight, wavy, curly, kinky, or coily. right? When I went to beauty school, they just told us about uh, straight, wavy, and curly, and the buck stopped there. But in my journey as a stylist and a loctician, I have realized that we were totally left out of that texture wheel, and texture is very, very important, right? So I added kinky and coily because kinky is kind of like a zigzag tight curl, and coily is like a spiral, really tight curl. So coily would be what somebody says they have 4C hair. Kinky would be somebody saying they have 4B, where their curl is a little looser, but it's still coarse. Curly would be more like a 3A, and there's A, B, C. I just really think it's hard to navigate. So I go by straight, wavy, curly, kinky, and coily. And then there's in between. You have some straight hair that has some wave to it. You have some wavy hair that has a little curl to it. You have some curly hair that has a little kink to it. You have some kinky hair that has a little coil to it. So you can have straight wavy hair, you can have wavy curly hair, you can have curly kinky hair, you can have kinky coily hair. So depending on your texture, different techniques will work better on the texture. So crochet, I think, goes well with straight, wavy, and curly hair because the crochet needle helps those locks along a lot better. Conventional locks, being that in kinky, curly, kinky, and wavy hair, there's a coil pattern and it's going in a circle. The locks tend to coil and mat easier when left to their own devices, okay? But all hair textures could be crocheted. All hair textures could be interlocked. All hair textures could be locked conventionally, and all hair textures could freeform. But the time it takes for it to lock and the way that it comes out, will be affected dependent on the texture. Okay, so we cannot have this conversation about starting locks without talking about tools and partings. It's very important that you disinfect after each use of your tools between clients, and even when you're using them on yourself, it's very important to disinfect your tools. Your fingers do the talking. Your hands, you just palm roll if they want it twisted, or you just separate and oil. Your fingers are your tool, right? With conventional locks, you can use a tail comb to part and curate the locks, and all locks have partings that are part of the journey. You can do straight brick laid square boxes. You can do straight square boxes where everything is strategic, like a grid. A lot of times the grid partings are used in the interlock techniques. You can also do C partings where you carve little C's so that the hair is still brick laid, but there's no straight lines through the locks. You can also do diamond shape partings where I've seen locticians take their time and it's squares that are shaped like a diamond, and you part it and go through each like a grid where it's falling like a diamond when you look at it, okay? Some people just allow their parts to freeform. So it really depends. So tail comb, great for parting. You use the tail to separate the hair and the front of the comb to clean it up. I like to use a barber comb for retwisting my locks. Every texture does not need the barber comb. A lot of fine, straight textures, you don't need to curate the roots so much. But on a kinky texture hair where the coils are really tight, I like to comb the root and bring it into a coil because that's going to allow the lock to go closer to the root before it grows out. So using this. For interlocks, there's a lot of tools that are used. This would be the interlock tools. These are your interlock tools. I'm missing one, which is a smaller one, but these are used to push through the root at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There are some different patterns that you can use depending on the loctician, the texture of hair, and the desired look. But you can't just keep looping it in one direction. It'll turn the lock into two locks. And if you see that in someone's head, that means that somebody did it wrong. And these are the crochet tools. We have 1 prong, 2 prong, 3 prong. These also come in different sizes. The smaller the tool, the finer the hair that it can grab, okay? A lot of times when it's fine, I like it better because the smaller, it grabs all the little hairs and gets it in. Now, if the hair is really thick, you might want to use a bigger dimension because it has to go in and grab those thick hairs. The smaller one might slip on the thicker hairs. So these are the crochet tools. And there's also a sister lock tool that comes with your certification of learning sister locks. You can get the sister lock tool. I really love these on sister locks, micro locks, because you don't have to hook anything on. It just, you hook the hair in there, it holds pretty well. Depending on the thickness of the lock, the top holes are smaller. So if you have really big locks that you need to interlock, you would go with the bigger tool. And no matter the technique, no matter the size, no matter the style, locks are an expression of who you are. Rock them unapologetically. I absolutely love styling. I absolutely love teaching and having dialogue about locks and natural hair. It is our culture. It is who we are. We need to love ourselves in our natural state because we are the bomb.com. So please follow me on all streaming platforms, Natural Trendsetters. My IG is Simone Sets Trends because we be setting trends naturally. Our product line is My Royal Coils. You can find that at myroyalcoils.com. The salon, you can reach us at naturaltrendsetters.com. And we're not done yet. If y'all have any questions, I hope you guys wrote them down because I am ready to answer any questions that you have. For the next 20 minutes, we will be live and talking to you about whatever you need to know about locks, starting locks, styling locks. I'm here for you. I am a reservoir of knowledge as I've been doing this for over 30 years and is my absolute passion and my love. And here's to many, many more amazing virtual hair shows. Love to express my gratitude to African Intelligence for this amazing platform and an opportunity to talk about one of the things that I love the absolute most: Black hair, Black culture, and Black beauty. Let's get into these questions.